Hello and welcome back to my studio. Today my practice session has taken a different turn. I've been trying for a much lighter touch than my usual painting style just to see what would happen and see how it looks, and this is the result. So if you're interested in this beginner-friendly demo, then hopefully you'll watch along, enjoy and have a go at something similar yourself. Firstly, I'm sketching the scene very simply, a distant tree line, a mid-ground hedge with a gate, a bit of fence and a path. Just before I start though, just to let you know, my book Landscapes in Watercolour is available from all good bookstores, and there's a link in the description below. It's filled with tips and tricks and 10 step-by-step tutorials, 5 pure watercolour and 5 ink and watercolour. So back to the demo. Pause the video if you'd like to take a closer look at the pencil outline, but as you can see it's very simple. I'm going to paint most of this in one go using the wet and wet technique to start with, wetting parts of the sky and leaving the areas where I want there to be white and pale grey clouds dry. This is a large wash brush, it's my Princeton Aqua Elite modeler brush, and now I'm brushing in some mid-value ultramarine blue and cerulean blue, allowing the paint to run out on the brush so it becomes paler in places. And of course painting around my clouds, looking for some nice soft edges where the paint hits the damp paper. Painting down till I get to the horizon line. Oh, there's a bit of a lump of paint there. That's too much, it's too rich. So I'm going to simply take a clean damp brush and just remove that strong paint. I can use the same brush to soften any edges. It's clean, it's only just damp, and it just softens any edges that are looking a bit too hard. So without rinsing my brush, I've dipped straight into some sap green. And I've got some perylene green as well, and I'm just using the tips of the brush to put in the hint and suggestion of a distant tree line in this flat landscape. Varying up the shades of green and the size of my marks, although keeping them quite small because this of course is the distance. You'll see how the modeler brush is great for making these sorts of marks. And I've lightened my green with a bit of permanent yellow, and now I'm just dry brushing across that field behind the hedgerow, leaving plenty of white unpainted paper because I'm trying to keep this light. You can go in and add more colour to that if you don't like that effect, but I'm keeping this light and fresh, and I'm quite happy with the way that looks at the moment. And so then dipping into my darker greens again and starting to build up my mid-ground hedgerow around my gate. I can adjust my green mixes if I like. I can add a bit more burnt sienna to warm things up. I can use different parts of the brush for different parts of the painting and drag some brush strokes along across the foreground to create the foreground field. This is a size 5 palette knife, and I'm using it to scrape the tip through the rich paint in parts of the hedgerow to create some little hawthorn trees and bushes and other shrubs, sticks and twigs, that sort of thing. Just suggestions of detail as I bring this hedgerow together. I can also use the palette knife to scrape some sort of directional lines through the foreground, which helps to show the perspective in the painting. Just carrying on, building up the scene, a few dabs of brush work here and there, building up these sort of hints of and suggestions of plants growing up around this hedgerow fence. Just making a few slight adjustments to the distant tree line or sort of horizon line. Stepping back, having a look at the painting and using a clean damp brush to soften up underneath the horizon line, just to help give me that soft aerial perspective that I'm looking for. This is my fan brush, and I've dipped into my sky colour and some of my greens and just pulling up some more grass suggestions, that sort of thing, in the foreground. Slowly building up a bit more tone and then using the palette knife for a bit more texture. So the gate and fence is next, so I'm just waiting for the hedgerow and foreground to dry completely. I'm going to use my rigger brush and a mixture of burnt sienna, ultramarine, bit of Payne's grey, and just painting the five bar gate. Quick word about gates. I often get comments with people saying that when you paint a closed gate, that's wrong. It should be an open gate to lead the eye into the painting. I'd like to say that if you look at the works by great masters such as Seago, Constable, Wesson, they have loads of closed gates, which are a fantastic part of the composition. So it's up to you. If you want an open gate, please feel free to paint one. If you like closed gates, then paint those. There's no wrong or right. As long as the composition is balanced and works nicely, then my closed gate doesn't stop you from looking around the painting. And I think that's a bit of a myth that don't know where that's come from. But of course, whether your gate is open or closed is purely down to personal preference. I've drawn a typical English 5-bar gate, or painted it, and left a few gaps in the lower bar for some grasses to come up in front of them. And then of course putting in the middle strut and the diagonals, and then beginning to work on the fence posts on each side, or gate posts on each side of the gate. And I'm going to put a few hints of fence posts behind the hedge, just putting little faint traces here and there so you can see parts of the fence posts, and then join them up with some fencing wire, again only where I've got gaps in my hedge, to sort of build up this illusion of the hedgerow with the gate and the fence. I think I'm nearly finished, just dotting a few more details just to maybe suggest some wildflowers growing in the foreground. And then I'm going to, once I've done that, take my flat brush and just put a bit of very diluted burnt sienna across this path for some nice sort of earthy colour there, in and around the greens, keeping it still very light, trying to maintain that lightness and brightness, but still trying to get enough value in there, but without overdoing the shadows and the deep tones that I often like to use. And I think this is looking fairly fresh at the moment. It's certainly quite different from my usual style, but I quite like it. And I'm going to take the tape off now, have a look at it, see how it looks with its clean white border, which always makes the painting look a bit more finished. See what I think. And here's the finished painting. I quite like it. It's not the same kind of style that I usually paint in. It's much fresher, it's much lighter. But as an experiment, I'm fairly pleased. I can see that this kind of style of painting could maybe work well as a vignette without the white border, with a sort of more ragged edge, if you see what I mean. It could work for different colour schemes, but I really like it here with this very simple gate and hedgerow design with a field in the background and this lovely light fresh sky. Let me know what you think and whether you like the sort of light fresh approach of this painting. I'll be interested to read your opinions in the comments below. So many thanks for watching. Please click on the thumbs up button and subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. And thank you so much to everybody that supports us on Patreon. We really do appreciate you, and we couldn't run this free to view YouTube channel without you. I'll see you again soon. Take care and happy painting. Bye.